it can get real technical, and there are two different ways of data capture. You can do like an explicit data capture with a survey, or you can do a metadata capture, which is more like crawling different systems and capturing, scraping data from already out there data that you have. There are privacy concerns, of course, with the latter, that you'd want to be really clear around some of the parameters of what you're collecting and how you're using it. For the former, that's like a more of a 101 approach that can still be super powerful. So I would start with what business questions you actually are trying to solve. Like, what kind of hypotheses do you have about the network that you're working within? And then center the questions on that. So some of the questions that are commonly asked, and they're simple questions, and you'd ask them of your entire workforce. Who do you go to for help or advice? Who motivates you? And based on the responses to those two very simple questions, you can come up.
Wait, sorry. It's just those two questions?
You could just use those two questions. You could just use one of them. You could also ask a question of like, who do you depend on the most to get your work done? There are other ways of, it depends on what you're trying to solve for. But those two questions get at, for me, like, who are your culture carriers? Like, who is emulating the behaviors you want your leaders to have? Who are those folks who are information or knowledge hubs that are sharing and giving updates or advice, like real technical knowledge too? And the motivation one is another interesting one because it's, again, like more of that cultural kind of norm that you might want to have, like who's really picking you up and helping you do great work and like elevating the quality of the work too.
Like the future leaders, basically.
Yeah, totally. So two very simple questions. And you could embed this in its own survey, just have a standalone, or embed it in your performance review process, whatever that